Her friends told her to ignore me for a month. A whole month. Who does that in a relationship? And then, 2 weeks into their little experiment, I showed them exactly what silence really feels like. They thought they could play games with me, manipulate me like I was some clueless idiot just grateful to have a girlfriend. They thought wrong. Let me tell you exactly what happened, and you tell me, was I wrong for how I handled this? Would you have done the same, or did I go too far? Because I'm still trying to figure out whether I was justified, or if I just proved I could be as cold as the silence they gave me. So, this story starts with me and my girlfriend, Emma. We'd been together a little more than a year, and I thought things were going pretty well. Not perfect, nothing ever is, but good. She was warm, thoughtful, funny, and honestly, I thought she was one of the kindest girls I'd ever met. We weren't dramatic, we didn't fight often, and when we disagreed, it was usually small stuff that blew over fast. But lately she had been spending more time with her new friend group from work, a bunch of girls who were loud, outspoken, always talking about testing men, and to seeing who really cares. You know the type. I never liked the energy around them, but I didn't say anything because I didn't want to look insecure or controlling. I just trusted Emma. Maybe that was my mistake. Anyway, this whole situation started randomly one night when Emma and I were texting. It was normal, she said she was going to grab dinner with her work friends. I told her to have fun. She sent me a heart emoji. Nothing weird. Then suddenly she just stopped responding. Like mid-conversation. I figured maybe she got distracted or her phone died or whatever. I didn't think much of it at first. But she didn't text me that night at all. Then the next morning, I sent a good morning. Text. No response. Hours passed. Nothing. I called, went to voicemail. So I started getting worried. I wasn't blowing up her phone or anything, just checking in. Finally, she texts, busy, talk later. That was it. And look, that alone wouldn't be a huge deal. People get busy. Life happens. But it kept happening. Day after day. Short, dismissive replies, like she suddenly didn't have time to talk to me. If I called, she'd say she couldn't talk. When we did talk, she was cold, distant, almost annoyed that I existed. I asked if something was wrong, she said no. I asked why she's being distant, she said she wasn't. I asked if we were okay, she said yes. But everything clearly wasn't fine, and she refused to talk about it. It was like she had turned into someone else overnight. One night, I decided to surprise her with her favorite takeout. I went over to her apartment. Her car was there. Lights on. But she didn't answer the door. I texted, "Hey, I'm outside." No response. I called twice. Nothing. 5 minutes later, I see her blinds shift, like someone peeked out, then silence again. I just stood there with bags of food in my hand like a complete idiot. After 10 minutes of awkward embarrassment, I left. That night, I seriously thought something major must have happened. Anxiety, confusion, frustration, all of it hit me at once. The next day, she finally texted. "Don't show up unannounced. I need space." No thank you for the food. No explanation. Just that. I didn't even know what to say. I spent the next 2 days trying to give her space, but still not knowing what the hell was going on. Then, and this is where everything snaps, I finally get answers, but not from Emma. From one of her coworkers. A girl named Sarah. She sends me a DM on Instagram saying, "Hey, I don't like what the girls at work told Emma to do. You should know." I ask what she means. And she goes, "Her friends told her to ignore you for a month to test your loyalty and see how you handle being treated like a second option. They think guys value what they chase." I stared at that screen for a good minute trying to process. A month. Not a misunderstanding. Not a rough patch. A planned manipulation. A loyalty test. Like this was some TikTok challenge. I actually asked Sarah if this was a joke. She said no, she overheard them talking about it yesterday. Apparently they planned it for 2 weeks already. And Emma agreed to it. My heart sank. Not because I was angry yet, but because I was hurt. Deeply. I would have done anything for that girl. I never made her feel uncertain about us, not once. And she still decided she needed to attest to me like I was some toy she was checking for defects. She didn't even talk to me about feeling insecure or needing reassurance, she just let her friends manipulate her and followed along. I didn't text Emma after learning that. Didn't confront her. Didn't ask her why. I just sat there on my couch staring at my phone like my brain had disconnected. And after hours of overthinking, I decided something. If she wanted space, real silence, I'd give it to her. Not out of spite at first, but because I realized I deserved someone who talks, not tests. Someone who trusts, not games. Someone who treats me like a partner, not a lab experiment. For the next 2 weeks of her little test, I said nothing. I didn't call. Didn't text. Didn't look at her stories. Nothing. Complete silence. I focused on myself, gym, friends, work, hobbies. And honestly, it felt freeing. At first painful, but then like I was slowly waking up from a fog. But apparently, silence is only fun when you're the one controlling it, because 2 weeks in, halfway through the test, she finally breaks. She blows up my phone. Calls, texts, voice notes. Why aren't you talking to me? Are you mad? What's going on? Did something happen? She went from cold and distant to panicked real fast. I still didn't respond. She called 10 times. Then 11. 12. She showed up at my house. My sister answered the door because I didn't. Emma asked if I was okay, said she was worried. My sister, who knew everything by then, said, he's fine. Just giving space like he was told. Emma froze. My sister just turned and walked back inside. I didn't go to the door. And I know some people will say it was petty. Maybe it was. But in that moment, I wanted her to feel exactly what she thought I deserved. Okay, so here's the situation I was in. I knew she was testing me. I knew her friends put her up to it. I knew she chose their advice over communication with me. And I had a choice, keep giving her silence, or finally respond and confront everything. Before I tell you exactly what I did next, pause for a second and tell me, what would you have done? Would you keep ignoring her and give her the silence she thought I deserved? Or would you confront her right away and talk it out? Comment below what you would have done if you were in my shoes. I really want to see how you'd handle this before I reveal what happened next. Alright, so on day 15, she finally texted saying, did I do something wrong? Please talk to me. And that's when I called her. No yelling, no anger. Just quiet. Calm. Cold. She answered on the first ring, voice shaky, hey, what's going on? Did I do something? I said, why don't you tell me? She hesitated. Then she said, I just thought you were losing interest. The girls told me to see what you'd do if I pulled back. And I swear, that moment right there made something in my chest just go numb. Not even anger, just disappointment. I asked, so instead of talking to me, you followed advice from people who don't even know me? She said she was scared of looking needy. That they told her if I really loved her, I'd chase harder. Then she said the worst thing she could have said, I just wanted to see if you cared enough. I responded, if you didn't know how much I cared after a year, you never trusted me. And if you didn't trust me, we never really had a relationship, we had a competition you were trying to win. She started crying. Said she was wrong. Said she regretted it. Said her friends were toxic and she shouldn't have listened. And here's the thing, maybe she really was manipulated by her friends. Maybe she was insecure. But relationships are built on communication, not tests. Trust, not games. I told her, if you ever come to me with doubt again, I'll reassure you. If you're ever scared, I'll talk you through it. If you need love, I'll give you more than you ask for. But if you try to test me again, you'll lose me. She whispered, I'm already scared I did. And then, she asked, can we talk in person? I told her we could. She came over. We sat on the couch. She apologized again, eyes red, hands shaking. I believed she was sorry. But also, part of me had broken. Not shattered. But cracked, and cracks don't disappear. Still, I gave her my conditions. No more friend-influenced decisions about our relationship. No more silence games. If she ever tries to weaponize distance again, we're done. She agreed. And I also made something else clear. I didn't talk to you for 2 weeks not to punish you, but to show you that silence doesn't prove love, communication does. If silence is your test, then silence will be your answer. She cried again, hugged me, apologized a dozen times. And for those wondering, yes, I stayed with her. Not because I'm weak or desperate or whatever someone online might say, but because I believe people can make mistakes and also learn from them. But it changed us. She changed after that. She cut off those friends, started communicating better, actually worked on herself. But I changed too. I became more aware, more careful, less blindly trusting. It wasn't perfect afterward, but it was real. So that's my story. Her friends said, ignore him for a month, and I showed them exactly what silence feels like. Do I regret my response? No. Do I think I could have handled it differently? Maybe. But sometimes the best lessons aren't spoken, they're felt. Relationships are not games. If you need reassurance, ask for it. If you feel insecure, say it. Love isn't proven by suffering, it's proven by communication. If you were on my side for this one, hit that like button. If you think I was wrong, tell me why. I'm open to hearing your thoughts. Subscribe for more stories like this, and let me know in the comments how you would have handled this whole mess. Thanks for listening. I'll see you all in the next story.